Oh, that was close.
You absolute bellend.
That was so close to not recording. Boom. I'm Dan Watson.
I'm full slog it. Go on, you can have it.
Oh, go on in. All right, then. Welcome to the dirt. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got a very special little bonus episode of sorts. But to be honest, the guest that we're about to have on, although it is a little bonus short episode, is fully worthy of their own episode in full entirety, because he has a lot of history within the sport. Let's click admit, and then that'll give us a couple of seconds just to introduce the wonderful nicest man in mountainboarding, because we know that title currently resides with Eamon Shaw, but this, ladies and gentlemen, is Tim Jones. Tim, thank you for joining us this evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, how the devil are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, we've just sort of introduced you as such as the nicest man in mountainboarding, but that's not to say that you're not still a thoroughly nice guy.
Are you starting beef?
Yeah. How could we have a nice off between Eamon Shaw and
a bake off?
Oh no, I've got no chance of that. No chance.
Yeah, a bit of a short notice episode, this one. We haven't got any community questions because I've not put it out to the public, because this is going to be turned around very quickly and be released within the next couple of days. Look. For those who might be listening on audio, Slogs has just chucked his tea all over himself.
Oh, it's lemonade, man.
Is it lemonade? To be fair, we were looking quite Harold and Hilda with the matching tramper jumpers on.
I've got face ache, hang on. Dribbled up my mouth, hang on.
Just show us your crutch now. Thanks, mate.
Right, well, good to go, man. Sorry about that.
Ever the professional.
You fixed now.
So, I mean, could you imagine a world in which you would have to try and rally us pair of idiots into some sort of coherent manner for a small amount of time? Anyhow, Tim Jones, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the dirt.
There's still time to pull out.
That's it.
I'll get my coat. I'm off.
I was going to say, I say that to the wife all the time. It's never true. But yeah, we have got you in this evening to chat about a number of things, but it would be remiss of us to not talk a little bit about your past. You've been in mountainboarding in the UK pretty much since, Genesis days. I think it's safe to say, and still here, 30 years later at minimum, probably a bit over that.
Yeah, not 30 years, 20 years.
20 years, sorry, 20 years.
Yeah, come on, I'm not that old.
20 years later, still in the game. Competed last year at the Champs.
On electric.
On an e-bit,
not gravity, yeah.
But you do have a very valid and decorated, certainly more decorated than mine, a higher caliber record than my own. But yeah, let's take us back very quickly, if you will, to how you found mountainboarding and when.
So I was at uni in Southampton, and there was a shop on the high street called Offbeat Sports, and they had an old, well, it was new at the time, but a frame board in there. And I was like, I've got some student loan. I discovered snowboarding while I was at uni, so I was like, I want to go at that. So I spent my student loan on this board, and it was terrible. Officially rubbish. Heavy, like skitty, awful, with the whole old bar type bindings, and then I kind of had that and thought it was terrible, and then I went to the National Adventure Sports Show, NAS.
Yes.
And there I discovered a dirt surfer. And I
Ah.
bought one of the first 5 dirt surfers in the country there and loved it. Thought it was amazing because it was just free. I could ride it anywhere and it would keep rolling. It was more like snowboarding.
And they're really carvable, aren't they?
Yeah. So I got that and bumbled my way through uni and played around on this. And then I think the second summer from uni, I went back home and discovered there was a mountain board centre half an hour from my dad's house, which was out to grass in just outside Malvern.
Yeah.
And I called them up and said, "Oh, I've got a dirt surfer. Is it all right if I come along?" And they said, "Yeah, sure." And I rode that. And Ian, who ran the place there, he said, "Oh, well, you should have a go on one of these." And he pulled out a no snow. And so I had a go and liked it and got on. And he said, "Oh, you know, and I went down a couple more days that summer, and he said, "We've got the British Mountainboard Championships here next weekend. You should enter." And I was like, "Well, I've not even got a board." He said, "Well, borrow mine. That's all right." So I entered, and I remember it was just 2-man board across there, not 4-man. Yeah. And I was racing Phil Bridges, and you had 2 heats against the same person. And
this on the opposite side to
no, before it was the first board across track they had, which was along the side on the main field, right down the side of the hedge. There was a house, and it was near the house.
Yeah,
and the owner didn't really like it, but that's another story. And anyway, Phil Bridges, and he was riding for MBS at the time, and I was kind of like a bit intimidated. And I got out the gates and my tyres were just too soft, so I didn't roll enough. And I gained some speed, but I couldn't pass him. I didn't have the momentum. So I was just like, for my second run, I was like, right, I need to whack the pressures up. So I just pumped the pressures up, went for it out the gate, got ahead of him, rode it to the finish, and ended up coming 5th overall.
Nice.
Your introduction to mountain boarding is exactly the same as mine. For a dirt surfer, then going down to a centre and being introduced to mountain boards at a centre through the dirt surf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've still got the dirt surfer, and it sits in the garage, and I could never bring myself to get rid of it because it's just a bit of history.
Yeah, I've still got a dirt surfer.
we was literally just talking about it tonight before you joined us. There's one on Marketplace that's an exceptionally good deal on a Gen 3 with all the hydraulic disc brakes, the lot. It's an incredible piece of kit.
It's nice. But there's a dirt surfer at Bugs. If anyone wants to have a go on it, it lives at Bugs Mine, so everyone can have a try out. Go and hit it at least once.
That's it. Going straight line the big grass open one and have a few carves and really max out the speed. Just remember there is a brake on the back there. You just got to put your calf on it. So I mean, Out to Grass was just a phenomenal place that has so many memories and is cherished throughout. Certainly the UK scene. Over the years, it went through a number of facelifts and phases, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, its crowning glory with the pristine slope style park and the mega long sort of rhythm section at the top into those flowy corners in the bottom section was, obviously the crowning jewel of that there. And that was in your time as well, wasn't it, Tim?
Yeah, so like when I finished uni, I was sort of bumbling around trying to get a job, applying for jobs everywhere. And Ian said, "Oh, well, I need a manager for the centre over the summer." So I said, yeah. So, ran Out to Grass for the summer in 2022, which was great, and taught hundreds of kids to ride a mountain board, which was awesome. Rode with the team there. And we took the team all over the country to all the events. The British Championships had 5 or 6 events every year, and it was absolutely great. And then September kicked in, and I got a real job.
It has to happen, unfortunately, at times. But as we always say, if ever you get the chance to live on, operate a mountain board centre, grab it, because it is the ultimate dream for however long it's there.
So good, so good.
But you were suffice to say, when I was racing back in the day in the open or the age appropriate classes there, I have to say I come up against you myself personally a number of times, and I'm not sure I ever came out the victor, but I did always. There were a few competitors when I look back again over the time of racing that I, sort of respect as my peers, and the people who I aspire to beat to, but like an attainable victory that I would feel gracious about winning. Yourself being one of them, and Leon Dove, another person from back in the day that I always seem to meet at some point in the tree, going through. But you, like I said earlier on, you did have the title that I never managed to achieve, which was a UK Open champion 2005. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So can you bring that up, because there's something that we need to talk about here, and I know that Slog's going to want to talk about this, but we're going to just he's just going to go to the historic document.
Let's look at the date first. We are looking at October 2005.
Oh yeah.
Oh, if you look down the bottom there,
it does say overall champion 2005, and underneath, what does it say there, Slogs, on the other title there?
It says World Amateur Champion 2004.
2004.
So that was the Arctic Challenge, the freestyle Arctic Challenge. That was
it? Yeah. Of course. Okay.
The ATB mag run one. Yeah.
that makes sense now, and it's all come back to me now. There was a talk about at the champs this year between myself about the next mystery that the dirt would like to unfurl, because we all know now that Steve Birkbeck done the hay bales at the hedge. Absolute fact. But we want to uncover who was the person who put the sugar in the generator for the Arctic Challenge.
I don't know, but I wasn't staying over because I only lived in Cardiff, so I just commuted.
Oh, you lucky person.
No, it wasn't me.
Have you got an alibi for the night?
Well, that sounds like the type of person that would say that, the nicest man in mountainboarding. Oh, one day, like, it's really believable. Oh, maybe too believable.
Too believable, and he knows that he wouldn't have to put up with it himself. It's just
exactly.
It's just the peasants down at the challenge.
I saw that was the Be Unlimited advert, and this is a shout out to Tim Paddock, who ran Be Unlimited. If he's ever around, I want to get in touch with him, because we were good mates, both lived in Cardiff and went out free riding, and I've not seen him for donkey's years. So if anybody knows how to get in touch with Tim Paddock,
that's the best shout out that's ever gone out in the dirt, because we would love to have him on. Those boards were incredible at what they do. I mean, they're worthy of a category of their own, really. But so much time for them.
There's also
there is another one at Bugs.
If you want to use it and have a go on one, there's one at Bugs that you all play on.
There's one in my garage as well, next to the dirt surfer.
Don't we, Tim? So this that photo, where was it taken? Can you remember back?
That was the indoor skate park at Newport in South Wales, and I was out riding with the rest of the Being Limited boys. And they did a photo shoot, and Tim very kindly decided to use that picture for a nice full-page advert, which was great. So
yeah,
one
I
for
think
the
like
they had a great big wooden capsule bowl at Newport
They
Skate Park
did,
back in the
yeah,
day. I
yeah,
remember having a lot of fun in there.
yeah. We used to like get a big pull in, and then you could transfer out of like the street section into the bowl. It's a
Nice.
big.
they've also got an oververt kidney pool outdoor one, haven't they? At Newport.
I
Uh,
wouldn't. I don't remember that, but it might be from now because they've
A peanut bowl.
it's 20 years old, 20 years ago that I think
yeah,
they
I mean,
were
I
in there.
like that. That was probably taken in 2005, 2006. That photo. So 2005, that photo would have been taken. I think.
Yeah, it had to be 2005, unless you went back in time.
Possible. It's possible.
Have you got a hoverboard in your garage as well?
88 miles an hour on a dirt surfer, mate.
um, now, yeah, you have been in and out of the scene for a little bit there. Obviously, you're back now in with the electrics, which has been fantastic. I've managed to had the privilege to ride with you again, both on a track a bit and also just on a couple of free ride runs, and it has been absolutely joyous spending every moment that I have with you again. It's always like I revert back to that person I was 20 years ago, you know.
When we went and we met with Aunt Wilson as well, and we went for that ride in the woods, and I was just like, it's like being like literally 15 years ago. It's like being 25, 26 again, just like having a blast. And amazing. Loved it. Absolutely do. Just don't get out enough. But
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do that again. We'll have to do that again at some point over summer if we get the opportunity. But look, you did also. I was just about to move on then and say that we are going to be meeting up shortly, which we are going to be. But we need to address another little topic along your historic route, and that is your involvement with the ATBshop.
yeah.
Now we're working through, just for those that might think we're working very quickly tonight. That's for a reason. We are. I'm trying to speed up my conversation this evening in preparation for what's forthcoming and trying to get my words out and remain coherent as well as a little bit of a practice, because we are working on something together, and that involves ATBshop. Now you have been a team rider for ATBshop.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that you're still very much in the ATBshop fold.
Yeah.
Friends with Stu.
I hope so. You know. Yeah, they're really like they're mates. They're really good mates. And me and Lucy went over and helped them when they bought the warehouse and set up the skate park and like opening the shop. And I've been and filmed at some of their. They do the Urban Rider Games there, which is like a big sort of skate and street competition. And just how they're just mates. You know, we've gone snowboard holidays together. Done Murder Luge in Courchevel, which I know you know about.
Oh my day! But do you know what? I haven't thought about that for quite a while. Quite a while. And oh, slogs! I wish you'd have come out there when we were out there. For those that have never been to Courchevel or possibly not been to a winter resort, there are certain places that have toboggan runs. Courchevel is one of those, and it's a piste that is specifically for evening shenanigans as such. Well, any time of day actually, because the kids go on it. But of an evening, it all gets lit up and there's music playing, and you hire out sledges, toboggans, and go down approximately a 3-kilometer track, which in the summertime, for the record, I used to rinse on the mountain boards, that track, because it had big bank corners and everything. It wasn't a tight luge like you'd see on the Olympics. It was quite wide, and it was just like Mario Kart. Murder luge, as Tim.
Yeah. I remember we went with, I think it was Stu, Diana, Ant, Matt Ship. I'm going to miss a few people out, but it was just mayhem. It was murder luge. It was like give a load of mountain boarders this like
rocket
death device, and just people didn't use the brakes. Like you just steered by dragging your hands lightly, and you just went. And like you had to have like the helmet on, the goggles on, the mask all the way up here because you just got snow everywhere. And I remember we were hammering it round this corner, and Ant just flew straight into a tree. Like he was gone. Like I think Shippy hit like 35 miles an hour or something on this kid's plastic sledge.
Well, on the little GPS on the
yeah.
Oh, I've seen a number of bones been broken on that. Throughout the seasons there. But pleasure used to be almost part of the job. As a resort guide,
you'd
say to you, right, your clients, your customers, they want to go sledging on Thursday night, go out and take them up there and get the sledges for them and stuff and cry. But some people were untouchable on those things. There was so much fun, and like you say, with the snow, you could literally like Mario Kart or something. If you get someone behind you in your slipstream, chuck up the snow, and they know it just throw you right off. Oh, brilliant.
I remember you go past someone as well and then you yank their brake on.
Push them out. Yeah. Oh, it was full contact. Like if you washed out in the corner and end up sideways, there's potential for T-boning. It was just incredible. Anyway, we've come right up at the topic there of ATBshop, but thank you for that memory. Were Stu and Diane and Ant, they would have been obviously present back in the original days of Mountainboarding as well, because Stu's
the godfather, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
He really is.
Stu Kirk, the original, the OG sort of ATBA chairman, is still to this day working tirelessly behind the scenes for the community, and his involvement in the ATBA UK. Still, the pair of them, Stu and I, working tirelessly on ATBshop and the skate park.
The skate park's got a real good community feel for what you see, like on the Facebook posts and stuff. They do a lot of different days there for the kids, don't they?
Yeah, loads. And like I take my daughter, we go during half term. They always do like an under sevens morning, and so she goes and she'll take her scooter down, and it's lovely. It's really, really nice. So,
I bet it must get absolutely rammed on those sessions as well.
It's not too bad.
Too bad.
We generally manage to sneak in a little bit early, so she gets a bit of quiet time.
That's the way. I mean, we've got Mount Hawk quite local, and I know taking my kids down there on the Saturday morning sessions it can get carnage, but there are a lot of skater kids that go to Mount Hawk. So they are being gracious enough to host us this weekend, are they not?
Yes, they are.
And behind the scenes, obviously, me and yourself, we've had a few visions. Yourself over the years have been involved with what give us your day job, if you will. But how have you come to be where you were? Because you used to make little videos and bits for Mountainboarding and stuff like that, and we know that a few years ago you sort of came to light with a new technique of the line camera that I remember seeing a video of it running through forest.
Dan,
what?
Let Tim tell us.
So, well, my day job, I work in telly. I make big OB trucks work. So anything that's not in a studio, football, cricket, whatever. Generally, if it's not in a studio, that's the sort of thing I do. But sideline from that, I still love mountainboarding and I love gadgets. So I was building way back when I was still riding a cable cam, and basically with me and Stu Lugger and a few others, we strung up what could only be described as a death trap in the woods. And the original one was made out of Meccano. It was a Meccano trolley with 2 washing line pulleys and a GoPro hanging underneath it. And literally, we would just drag it, would put this cable between 2 trees, about 100 meters apart, would take it to the top, and would just let gravity do its thing.
Like a zip line.
Just a zip line, yeah, exactly that. And to stop it crashing into the tree at the other end, we'd get bits of foam that would tie wrap round the cable, and like would have staggered ones of them. So the trolley would crash into the first bit of foam, and that would start sliding down the cable as well. Then it would crash into the next one, and it would gradually slow it down, hopefully enough before it crashes into the tree. Yeah. And it was a bit of trial and error, but it would work. And the results we got from it were amazing. And then that went through various different incarnations. Like the first one was literally GoPro on it, one like GoPro Hero 2, I think, and you just let it go, no idea what it's getting. And then I got a little analog link with a little monitor so I could see what it was getting. And then I built a pan and tilt control out of radio controlled car servos, because this was before you could buy a gimbal and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, and then I wanted to be able to drive it up and down the cable. So then I literally chopped the arse end of a radio controlled car out and mounted it so that the cable came under a pulley, over the drive wheel, and then under the other pulley. And it all worked. And now there's actually a company that makes almost exactly what I built. Commercially, you can go out and buy it, a thing called Wirral. But just the results you got from it, because we could fly it down, and it was like a drone shot, an FPV drone shot, way before
completely new perspective then. Well,
that it was, in my opinion, the first what we would call in the modern day a drone shot. That is exactly it. You summed it up, but preceding the invention of drones by 10 years. And I'd love to find that footage. Maybe I will try and find it.
It's all on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Just search Mountainboard cable cam.
Perfect. There you go. So that obviously, you know, you're constantly thinking about the crossover between work and private life. Always happens. Not saying that I don't do anything to do with media in my day job. I make cups of bloody coffee. But I've often over the years thought about how we can put mountain boarding out there in a modern world. And so I know you have in the past as well. And I have been trying over the last year a number of different sort of reaches outside of this podcast format. And we spoke, I don't know when the first time we spoke was it just after the champs last year?
It was before EBIT, I think, because you said you were going to be live streaming some stuff from EBIT. And so I said, well, do you want a hand? I think that's how it sort of went.
I think because I think you've talked yourself out of a little bit there, because you said to me as well at the same time, I would love to be able to cover mountain boarding in some way, shape, or form. Wouldn't it be nice if mountain boarding was as popular as something like Red Bull Hardline or some of those events? And obviously then we're zinging in this conversation and thinking, right, okay, the technology's out there now to make it happen a little bit easier, of which some of it I can see is proudly on display behind you,
hiding there over my shoulders.
Those two are what do they refer to in the business?
So they're remote pan and tilt cameras, essentially.
Remote pan and tilt. I had a little tour around Tim's studio via a video call earlier, and there's a lot of shit that I know nothing about. Which
did it get you erect though, Dan? Did it?
Yeah, it kind of did. I've got to say,
Oh,
it was most
you know about that,
impressive.
don't you?
The sort of thing that I'd want to press buttons and would have no idea. Just bashing a computer. Anyhow, you know how to make all this stuff work because of your day job.
Well, I mean, this stuff is a little bit different to what I do in my day job.
Just a little bit,
because we're talking scales here, sort of thing. But yeah, my day job, I deal with big outside broadcast production trucks, but the principles are the same. And you know, I've amassed a degree of sort of equipment over the time, because during lockdown we sort of decided that we wanted to start streaming live events and stuff that couldn't be seen. Yeah, bought some equipment, and then my day job started up again, and I haven't used it as much as I should. And the thought is, I've got this stuff. Mountainboarding should be seen because it's amazing.
Yeah.
And like, why the heck am I not using it to
the idea is
something that I love?
So your ideas between you, sell mountainboarding to the masses, looking professional as fuck.
Yeah,
that's it. So what we've been working to within this episode so far has basically been an announcement that we are going to be but you'll already know if you're listening to this that we are doing ATB, a game of ATB, which is essentially a mountainboard variant of the game of Skate, a classic skateboard game. Hopefully live from ATBshop on this Saturday, the 4th of March, at 8 p.m. GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. So yeah, essentially what we're going to try to do, if don't mind, is we're going to use this equipment. We've got 5 of the best riders, freestyle and jibbers in the UK currently. Fact. We have Eamon Shaw, current UK champion. We have Adam Conacher, current Game of Board UK champion. We have Emlyn Bainbridge, Dream Teas and Jam winner. We also have Matt Bryn, 10 times world champion. All 5 of these riders. Oh, and I forgot one more, James Wanklin, 2018 UK champion. How can I forget him? all five of these are coming and descending upon ATBshop this weekend. And we are going to be, hopefully, like we say, live broadcasting this game of ATB. Tim is going to be behind the scenes creating the magic. We've got a number of other helpers that are also behind the scenes that could do with a shout out, and I'm gonna reel them all off quickly here. I really hope I don't miss anyone else out. Jack Johnston will be joining us on cameras. Ash Mulholland will also be joining us in a double capacity of slight coverage of blog for the AT Boarders website, and will also be hopefully helping us out with some cameras there as well. We have Lee, the lovely, I don't know what the first, I don't want to say first lady, because the next person I was going to introduce is Ayla, and there's contention, there's trouble. There's 2 first ladies in mountainboarding, and both of them need crediting. So both of you,
the better half of Matt Bryn.
That's it, yeah, the better half of Matt Bryn, and Ayla, the better half of Eamon Shaw. We've also got Claire Sloggett, the better half of Paul Sloggett, joining us. And who else? I'm sure I'm missing now. I'm going to move on because I don't want to mess up.
I need to say one. My brother's actually coming down to lend a hand as well. So I need to give him a shout out. So
Yeah,
Perfect.
cool.
Tim's brother-in-law, thank you very much. And obviously, Stu and Di and Ant Wilson, I know, will be hopefully joining us at some
is
point.
he coming? Is he?
Yes, he's going to come down and join.
Awesome.
So yeah, all of those people have been putting in massive amounts of work behind the scenes over the last few weeks and month or so in the planning and preparation, and they are all instrumental in us attempting this first of its kind, essentially. We've live streamed before, but we've never had a full-on program. We hope. I think this will be going out on YouTube Live.
Yeah.
So whereas last time we went out on Insta, didn't we, from the champs, just with a phone?
That is
this
correct.
Time, stepping it right up.
Yes, indeed. We'd like to hope that it may lead to the ability to be able to cover other competitions and events in the future in a similar manner. But I think doing this first one, hopefully the reception for our gadgets and cameras all plays ball for us, and we can actually go live.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. If not, then here's the apology for this going out slightly later or as an edited format after. But either way, it should be a night, hopefully, with us two Muppets at the helm, whilst it will hopefully still be a bit light entertainment and a few giggles and probably a few mess ups as well. But yeah, we're going to try and hopefully move on.
What we've done, because there's us two Muppets doing it, we've brought in some professional people who know what they're doing and really good riders. So it's going to be all
right. Indeed. And yeah, so all of those people, massive thank you for the task we are about to undertake. We did say we was going to try and keep this a little bit light in terms of timing this evening. But I'm wondering, is there anything that we've missed about what we're trying to put out here, Tim? Do you think?
I mean, are we allowed to talk about the end game?
Yes, if you're wanting to talk about the end game, and I think that people should be excited if we can allow people to be excited.
Like, the end goal, the reason for all of this, that, do you want me to say it?
No, you say it, definitely.
No, you say
so ideally, what we want to do is we want to get to the position that we can cover the British Championships and live stream it from a field in Gloucestershire for the world to see. Probably 5 or 6 camera live coverage with replays like you'd see on the telly box for the world to see. That's the aim. And if we can prove the system here with our brilliant friends at ATBshop and some great riders, fingers crossed, we can make it happen in a field.
Yeah. Providing we don't get rain. No rain. But yeah. I mean, to be fair, I look forward to the opportunity to be able to bring that. I mean, it has been mentioned that we are maybe in the twilight years of our competitive nature, and moving on to a new way to be able to push the sport forward. It may be that this helps us, gives us something marketable to sponsorship for the series, and with support from the community in terms of watching and sharing it and stuff like that. I'm not necessarily talking about this episode of the podcast, but the actual main program, once it has gone out, please do share it as far and wide as possible. And then the same for the UK champs. Yeah. And then go mountainboarding. Exactly.
Yeah, take your grand mountainboarding. We need more numbers.
That's it. And take them to ATBshop warehouse and go mountainboarding and skateboarding and scootering or whatever floats your boat in a skate park indoor environment there. There is one other thing that we haven't done on this episode that we would normally do, and I think we've got to do a 10 set with.
Well, I've got a 5 set because I thought we was going mini bug.
Well, then at least okay. So do a 5. This is perfect because if we do a 5 set now, and we do manage to achieve the end goal of UK champs, then we can get Tim back in again and do this again before the UK champs, and we can do the 5 set this second half then.
Right. Regular or goofy?
Goofy.
Right. Most memorable mountain board experience? That's a toughie, isn't it?
Wow. To be honest, like there've been too many good ones, but me and Ant Wilson met up with the Scuzz boys when they came and did a UK road trip, and we took them to Crooked Mustard, and they looked at it and were like, "You can't ride down that."
Oh, yes, you can.
Me and Ant went and absolutely stormed it, and it was just like it opened up people's eyes to what you could do. And like Crooked Mustard is just like I've walked it again since and gone, this is ridiculous. But we used to ride down it, and that was we were riding with Andy from Scuzz and all that lot. And before we went to Crooked Mustard, we went to Randwick, and there's a few like cliff drops in Randwick as well. And me and Ant were hitting them, and they're probably 8 to 10 feet, you know. And it was just a level of riding that, like, we were just on it. Like the free riding was, you know, that was the best I'd ever ridden, sort of thing. Free ride. And so although, you know, winning the British Championships was pretty good, I'm not going to argue, but like a fun day out, you know, it was just that.
Steve
really like that story.
I like that story a
really
lot.
Like that.
Steve Birkbeck recently posted some footage. He'd been back to Crooked Mustard for a hill climb there, and even the cars aren't making it up this thing. It is incredible. Maybe I'll try and link that if I can't get some proper footage of Crooked Mustard.
I saw it. It was brought back some good memories. And there was another run there, just digressing, called Badger.
But Badger.
Yeah, and that was named by oh my god, Paul Onions.
Yes,
and like, you know, back in the old school, and that was just this shoot, and you could just point it, and you had to lock in and just ride it to the bottom. But I remember he took a stack and rolled in some rotten leaves and stuff, and that's how it got its name, because that we decided that's what it smelt of. Was, so, yeah.
I like that. I really did. It throws up one of my ones anyway, because I had best free ride spot down there, but it's obviously Crooked Mustard. We've gone there.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't ride it now, no chance. But yeah.
Right.
I reckon if you lined up at the top of it with us guys, you'd still give it a go.
Well,
is it still there in its entirety? Is it the full run?
Yeah.
You could ride it on the Ebe. You'd have a break then as well, but it wouldn't be as much fun. I wonder if you can get up it on the Ebe. That would be a real test.
Yeah. I don't know. Having brakes, like I never used to ride brakes, free riding, and I on the Ebe I don't have the same bottle as I did, because you've always got that brake. So I don't hit stuff as flowy or as fast, because you've got the option not to. So
you still shift along all right, even on your Ebe.
I'm a bit of a wimp. I've broken too many bones now.
Next question, Slotty.
Favorite current rider? Who do you like at the current batch of the boys?
Oh well, you know, it's got to be Dan and Slogs, hasn't it?
I mean, young riders who have got some.
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, I obviously watch a lot of the Bryn Brothers stuff. You know, because they're just like they've got the kit to get a league ahead. You know, and
that
I
new quarter pipe looks nice, doesn't it?
It does, really nice. But I booked tickets. This is way back to go and see Nitro Circus at Birmingham International Arena when Matt Bryn was doing the tour, but then he bloody spanked himself before it, didn't he? So, but like
he does do refunds. If you ask him, he'll refund you your ticket price, even today.
I had it was amazing though, and seeing the size and the scale of all that stuff. You know, I've got a, you know, like Matt Bryn, he's up there, like 10 world titles. You know, yeah. I'm sure there's other young whippersnappers that are coming through, but I've not been out there and seen them and on the scene. You know,
yeah.
So yeah.
That leads in quite well to the next one then. Favourite rider from back in the day?
Back in the day.
Who did you look up to? Who did you think? Yeah.
I don't know that this is tricky because we were all just mates. So Ant Wilson, Stu Lugger, Steve Birkbeck, we were just mates and we'd just go out and ride.
Absolute senders.
Like
you guys were the core. At one point, there was a period of time in the UK where you four guys there were pretty much the core of free riding progression in the UK. I mean, there's no, you know, like the No Snow Boys had that title for many years on the bounce and stuff like that. But there was
big mountain stuff, you know.
Yeah, but there was a you know, a purple patch of like 3 or 4 years where you guys were just you were on it for free.
It was good, really good, and like, you know, you'd always look at the likes of Pete Tatum and Dave Tatum. You see them flying down breakers, and you'd be like, oh my god, you know. They're a world above doing that sort of thing, but we were just in the woods, and you know, it wasn't a case of looking up to people. You were mates having fun, and you would egg each other on, and you know, you'd see someone hit one thing, and you'd be like, well, I'm going to do that. And before you know it, you know, the cliff's getting bigger.
Nice. But I didn't count their slogs, but was that your 5?
Don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I've got a bit of a face ache, man. We'll do another one. What was your favourite border cross track? This is more for me. I'm more interested in this as an answer for me. What was your favourite ever border cross track?
Tell you, the one that I always did the best on was Hair Down.
Yeah.
Got 3rd place at Hair Down twice. Both times it was there. Got 3rd place. It's consistent. It scared a lot of people because it was chalk and flinty. But
it was gnarly, wasn't it? If you took a tumble in there,
yeah,
it would leave you in tatters.
But it suited me, that track. I like that track. The Green Man, because that just scared the hell out of you.
Yeah.
Like I know there's all this talk about balancing your wheels and all that rubbish, isn't there? Right? But when I distinctly remember hammering it down the Green Man, and then you'd hit those massive like roller jumps, and you'd be flying over them. You couldn't stay on the deck; you'd just fly over them, but you'd only be like a foot off the ground. But you could feel your board doing that underneath you because your wheels were going so fast. And like, that's the only time that I've thought, maybe there is something in it. But
let's say the hubs back then, I mean, they're heavy. They're heavy. The ground industry, just standard hubs from back then, it's heavy, especially when you compare it to the likes of, you know, like the old, when the rock stars first came out. Yeah. That takes a bit of that momentum that they have out, doesn't it? But the tri-spokes and the 5 spokes, you know, the old 5 spokes, even they're heavy, you know. But anyhow,
But
But,
am I allowed to mention one other border cross track?
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
That
You
would
mentioned
have
many
to
to
be
one.
the main one at Out to Grass, like straight down the middle of the field.
Yeah, the brown mud sculptured one.
Yeah, like it was like Andy Potter just beautifully sculpted the whole lot, and you just like you drop in, pump four rollers, hit the double, then if you had enough, you could clear the triple as well, and then on and little step up, step downs, and all that. Just like I rode that course a lot because it was my local centre, but it was a centre that put in so much groundwork with regards creating that course because it was huge.
Yeah, it was a nice course.
And you could take beginners down it.
Yes.
Who weren't as proficient could roll it. They could roll it all and, let their pressures out a little bit. Or they could do the first half and then pull out. And so it was really good for a centre. It was a great course for a centre. But also you could have some really fast, good races on it.
Yeah. So. I mean, a lot of people said used to say that the Out to Grass, its only downside was that it was a bit flat. But I don't believe that was the case because it was as you say, the perfect beginner centre. And that's what these places were back in the day. These mountain board centres were grassroots hubs for local communities to get together, and the kids would come out and the adults alike, and they would progress. You could make progression Out to Grass, as opposed to, let's face it, sometimes the black run at Court Farm or Hair Down even, they're intimidating courses where it wasn't that place. You could always pull off. You could break the track up into sections and you could take it as fast or as slow as you liked. Yeah. But yeah, I think I've got to say that I think that was probably Potter's, crowning jewel as well, with the slopes, the slope cross, or what was it called, the free cross track as well, and that whole slope style park was just incredible.
It's just such a shame it's not there anymore.
Isn't it just? Ian, open it back up again.
Go on.
He's still there. He's still got the farm. He's still got the means. I reckon.
Just needs a strimmer, doesn't it?
That's it.
I ain't doing that.
We'll get some pad monkeys on it.
Yeah, I ain't strimming ever again in my fucking life, ever.
Well, look, this has been a very short and wonderful episode, Tim. As we said at the start, we could probably have done 3.5 hours here, more even, as it feels like. But it's been an absolute joy to have you on it, and we'd love you to come back again in the future and talk about the UK champs if and when that happens. But let's focus on this weekend, Saturday, March the 4th, 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on YouTube. We're going out live from ATBshop with, like I said earlier, 5 of the best riders in not only in the UK but in the world, in a live game of ATB. I almost said skate there. There are some differences in the rules. The rules are on the social media. They should be online by the time that this gets put out. But yeah, go give it a follow, go watch it, share it, and yeah, let's kick it off and let's all get a little bit excited about Mountainboarding's coverage in the UK in the future, eh? But thank you very much, Tim, for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Indeed.
I've really enjoyed the conversation.
I can't wait to see us both on the weekend. I've not seen either of you for a little while.
Yeah.
See you Saturday morning.
Yeah.
That's it.
Cool.
Right.
We're done. We're out of here.
Way aye, man. That was dead canny as out, that like. Cheers for tuning out to listen. Now, before you gan yem, don't forget, if you want to keep getting doing with the dirty fun, like and subscribe. Get amongst it. Shy Ben's getting out.